It's October 2023, almost Halloween, and I'm doing a garden update here. So, this is the front yard garden, and this is a fall garden. In Southern California, it doesn't get very cold until probably end of December, early January. We'll occasionally get a freeze. A lot of this stuff is freeze resistant, so I did an experiment this year. I probably should not have done it this way, but I did. I dug narrow furrows instead of wide rows. In the past I've done wide rows and they grew gangbusters, and I forgot. So I drew very narrow furrows, and I've got like 4 rows here of collards, and they're starting to get big. They grow real fast. I'm not weeding any of this because it's fall. I'm gonna just let it do what it does. And it's a lot of collard, and then I've got some turnips up here, and they're doing pretty good. Like I said, I got weeds in the middle, in between the rows. But you can kind of see, starting now, what the rows look like. And then above that, I've got some patches of pumpkins, and for some reason they came up in different time frames. So this one came up real fast, and then these didn't, but they finally did catch up. So they're going to grow behind, and they've been popping up at different time frames. There's a pumpkin, but the rest of this up here, we had a whole bunch of sunflowers, and I took all the heads off when they died and just threw them in here, and they're growing like crazy. So I don't know if I'm going to get successful overwhelming tons of sunflowers, or if they're just going to peter out because of cold. But we'll see what happens. This is an experiment. I got a bunch of goat head weeds up there. I probably need to pull those because those turn into nasty goat heads. But anyway, that's the front yard. This is the far side. And this is, what is this? I've got mustard greens. I don't know if this is mustard greens. This is definitely iceberg lettuce, the light green. And then it's got weeds in there with it too. These are turnips, I think. I think I misspoke in the front yard. Those were probably mustards in the front yard. These are turnips, and they're too close together. 2 types. That one less crowded row is a purple top, and the other ones were white top turnip or something. I don't remember. Bugs are really eating the heck out of the leaves. So we'll see what happens. Again, I'm not going berserk over this. Whatever happens, happens. This is mustard greens, if I remember right, and they sprouted real well and then kind of died out. This particular pit here, it seems like it's hardly ever successful. It's like the pit of despair. I'm going to show you my flowers on the other side. So you've seen my flower pits before. I've seeded them, but not a lot's popped up yet. But this is the remain of the last flower pit, and this is the last gasp of the big pink ones. These are awesome. I don't know what they're called, but they're doing real well. Hi, George. Some white ones in there. A lot of these are drying up later than the other ones. Still got bees in there. This is the pool backyard garden, and man, I'm getting a lot of patchy weed in here that's growing and kind of killing stuff out. Maybe we'll see what happens, but there are sprouts in these furrows. Whether they get big enough to produce, I don't know. But there's carrots in here in certain places, and a lot of root crop. We had a lot of success with turnips last year in here, but we'll see what happens. There's carrots in there. I could see a couple of them, but there's not a lot of stuff. And you know, it might work out because sometimes when they're sparse, they don't get so crowded that you can't produce anything. Sometimes it's too crowded and then they all come out small. There's definitely stuff growing in there. I don't have my map with me, so I don't know what's back here, but a lot of root stuff. This method, narrow rows back here, didn't seem to work too good. Last year I just threw seeds everywhere and turnips came up on their own all over the place. So I don't know. This was an experiment, like I said, fall garden, and sometimes you can't tell until a couple months down the road stuff starts shooting up, and the problem I'm going to have is that I can't rake this out with you know, any tools, because I'll mess up the furrows. So I don't know that this narrow row method works. I like wide rows where you can walk in between them. I've got my step cross. That's the only way I can really get around in here. A lot of weeds, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this so far is doing a lot less well than the front yard, so it's all luck.